How's it going, everybody? It is Pilot Flame, and we are back with an FPL stream for Game Week 1. It is finally upon us. Tomorrow, the Premier League season starts, and we'll be enjoying it. Hopefully, everyone's not panicking too much. It is gonna be exciting. And yeah, should be a good one. Just a bit of housekeeping first. If you haven't done so, make sure to follow us on all the socials. PilotFlame226. You know where to find it down in the description. We will also be doing a deadline stream tomorrow. It will be an hour before the deadline. The deadline is 7 a.m. my time. I'm 1 hour ahead of EST, so that will be. I'll be up 1 hour before that, which is 6 a.m. my time, which is 5 a.m. EST. I will be up and live for the deadline stream, so make sure to tune in for that as well. Also, I was planning on doing the Game Week 2 preview this Monday coming, but there's supposedly some bad weather in the area, and also they might be turning off our electricity. So we have to kind of figure some things out there, so I'll probably push that to Friday and do a video instead and post that in the meantime for you guys. And just trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yeah, the channel update's going to go up on the YouTubes as well. Just kind of basically just going to be saying FPL's back, really. So yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about that. And yeah, let's get into it. So, if you haven't done so already, league code is above for Fantasy Premier League. If you want to check that out, please do so. Make sure to be following us over on Twitter. That is how you join the league. And yeah, should be a lot of fun this season. I finally come up with my team name, so I thought it was quite good considering my name is Pilot and I put Air Force in the name, so it's kind of a little bit of a joke there. But yeah, we're gonna go through our predictions here for the games just to kind of go through some of the normal stuff, and then we'll go over my team. So let's move this out of the way, and we'll just bring this bad boy across here so we can see that. I'm just gonna put that right. We'll just put it in the middle. It doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter too much. So, Fulham versus Arsenal. I think this is only gonna go one way. I think Arsenal are gonna score, and I think they'll keep a clean sheet. I think it's gonna be a comfortable 2-0 for Arsenal, and hopefully Aubameyang gets both of those goals. Crystal Palace versus Southampton. I think Crystal Palace is in trouble this season personally. I don't think that they have some very happy members in Zaha, who's been trying to leave the club for several years. And I think that Southampton have been quite good, especially since post-restart. And I think they're going to continue that into the season. I can see another 2-0 win for Southampton as well. Liverpool versus Leeds. I think Leeds will play the same way as they always do. Which from the little bits that I've seen, they're quite offensive. They try to get the ball back, but they do miss a decent bit of chances. I still think they might end up scoring, but I think this plays into Liverpool's favor. I'm just going to go with a comfortable 3-0 win, even though I think that Leeds could potentially score. It's probably going to be 3-1, but I'm going to go with 3-0. So yeah, West Ham and Newcastle, this is a very interesting one. I think both teams defensively are quite bad, and I think it could be a decently scoring game. I'm going to go with a 2-2 personally. West Brom and Leicester, again, should be quite comfortable for Leicester. I think 2-0 is a fair scoreline based on the fact that they still have the Golden Boot winner in Jamie Vardy. And West Brom are probably going to be one of the teams, in my opinion, just on initial reactions and whatnot, that are probably going to go down. So even though it's only the start of the season, nobody's kicked the ball yet, but we will see on that front. Spurs versus Everton. I'm not sure how this one's going to go down because Everton kind of revamped their midfield, and Spurs have been looking, slightly better under Jose. Whether or not they keep their defensive solidity and still maintain a decent threat going forward, They have Emil Højbjerg in there. They also brought in Matt Doherty, who's going to give them a bit more stability on the defensive side, as well as keeping up the productivity on the offensive side. So I think they should be able to win this game. I think it's going to be a pretty close affair, though. I think it's going to be a 2-1 win for Spurs. Sheffield United versus Wolves. I think Sheffield United haven't solved their problems, and I can see Wolves just winning 1-0. And Brighton versus Chelsea, I think it's going to be pretty one-sided, and I think Chelsea should have no problem with scoring 3 goals past Brighton, because they like to play out from the back, and that just plays into Chelsea's hand, because it makes it easy for their attackers, which they spent a lot of money on, to score. Clean sheet this week, I think it's pretty straightforward in my opinion. I'm going to go with Southampton. Goalkeeper, I think it's a pretty no-brainer there. I think it's McCarthy from Southampton as well. Pretty straightforward pick there. In defense, I think you're probably not going to get a better fixture out of Trent Alexander-Arnold this week. You know, he hasn't played as much in preseason as all the other people on Liverpool, so he's going to be pretty fresh, and I think he's going to go out and want to kick on from last season after winning the league. So I think Trent is probably the only differential pick I get to really pick in that sense, as much as you can call him a differential, but I think he's going to be the one that we're going to be looking towards to potentially help out with keeping the clean sheet, as well as, you know, kind of bashing the living crap out of Leeds and showing them that the Premier League's a little bit tougher than the Championship. In midfield, I think this could be a nice game for the likes of St. Maximin. And I think that he could be quite influential in the game. I predicted a 2-2, and I think St. Maximin is pretty much a part of most of the stuff going forward, and I think that now they have Fraser, who can play out on the right. They'll put Almiron in behind the likes of Callum Wilson, probably. I can see ASM getting in behind West Ham, no problem. They'll have to occupy, he'll be one-on-one more often, which favors him, and he's going to be their main talisman going forward. And for forwards this week, I think that probably the easiest decision ever is Timo Werner. This guy is probably going to end up winning the Golden Boot. He's ridiculous at scoring, super clinical, and I think it's just pretty straightforward. To just think that he isn't going to do well versus Brighton. I mean, he already scored 1 goal versus them. Yeah, I think he's going to be quite good. Obviously, there's some obvious picks. You could say Jamie Vardy might do well to West Brom and that sort of stuff, but I'm going to go with Werner. It's the only time I'm probably going to get to put him on one of these lists because of the fact that he's not really a differential. He's quite highly owned, so we shall see. But yeah, so this is my team currently. This is what we've been tinkering around with, and this is kind of one of 2 things that I've kind of settled on. So the main kind of changes that I could potentially make. So these are the 2 teams here. So this one has 3 million in the bank, as does this team as well. So you can kind of see the differences if I line them up just like that. You should be able to see. I can bring this down a little bit more. There we go. And then this one, yeah. So it's about the same. So yeah, basically the changes between the 2 teams is that one has Matt Doherty and an extra 4 million defender and has Mitrovic up front, whereas the other team has Calvert-Lewin, and then it replaces one of the 4 million defenders in Doherty with 2 4.5. So basically what we're thinking here is if Vinagre is able to play, he's going to be better value than the likes of Doherty potential, because I'm still not fully confident on Spurs' defense. So it could just be one of those things where, you know, it's not what we're looking for off the start. Yes, Wolves have a pretty, couple tough fixtures off the start. But again, for 4.5, we don't have to necessarily play him versus Sheffield United. We could play Walker Peters instead. Whereas Doherty, we would just play him every game. As he's, the only real tough fixture he has on paper potentially is Man United away in the first 8, and then we can look to potentially ship him on for somebody else when the fixtures go a bit bad. John Wick, how are you doing? I am doing quite well. I have my team, or two teams technically, up on the screen, which we're just discussing here at the moment. And yeah, I'm kind of undecided between the two. I want to say to back Jose Mourinho now that he's not with United, and go with the likes of Doherty, because I like Doherty as a player, and he's going to provide more defensive stability. And if there's anything that Jose likes, is he likes a good signing, and Doherty is one of those signings. So I think Doherty played on international duty. He was playing, in the Europa League when Wolves were in it. So it's not like he has lack of fitness, and I think he should be quite good. I prefer this team overall because it doesn't matter if I have 4 million defenders on the bench. All the players will play on my team. Maybe you can say that Ali or Adams maybe gets benched, but again, those guys are going to make way at some point in the first few game weeks, most likely, for other assets. So Ali is probably going to make way in game week 2 for a Man United asset, or maybe Che Adams, because we have enough money, or Mitrovic even, to make the swap to Fernandes, Rashford, or Martial with the current money we have in both teams. This team's a little bit probably slightly better suited in the fact that we get to kind of rely a little bit more on Calvert-Lewin, because I think Calvert-Lewin's probably going to be better now that he has a nice midfield behind him at Everton. Che Adams and Mitrovic is as good of a price that they're at. I don't see them being, good long-term solutions, so I think he could provide a good value at 7 million. The only problem is that, again, we have to sacrifice the fact that, we're going without Salah in both cases, which I think is fine, because if you look at the fact that we have double Liverpool defense, which I think may not be good off the start, but will provide value across the entire season. Like, as an example, we'll take this team here. We've got 3 million in the bank. I'm just going to move it down so it's a little bit more centered. But basically, what you're kind of looking at is every game week you play Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Doherty. You play Havertz, Ali, Saint Maximin, and Aubameyang, and then you play your 3 forwards. And then the next game week we take out Ali or Adams, and we bring in Rashford or whichever Man United asset we want, because we have 3 million in the bank and we can get any of them we want. Then in game week 3, we take out Aubameyang, we bring in De Bruyne or Sterling, whichever one we fancy. Game week 4, we don't do any transfers for that game week, so that we can go into the international break with 2 free transfers to potentially look at the likes of changing out Havertz for Aguero and then downgrading him to a cheaper midfielder, or maybe we get Salah back in and do something there as well. There's a bunch of different things we can potentially do. And depending on value and stuff, we can look elsewhere as well. Usually I'm the type of player that looks for value, but if it doesn't happen to follow the plan, which I think it still will, it's something that we can definitely be okay with. And the thing is with Salah, so if you look at the fixtures here, yes, he's got Leeds at home right off the start. Chelsea away, could he potentially score against? Of course. Could he score at home to Arsenal? Of course. Aston Villa away, yeah, he could score there as well. Salah can score in every game, but so can all the other players. I think that Aubameyang in his first 2 fixtures could be a better captain, and is arguably a better captain than Salah. Most people are going to be ditching one of Salah or Aubameyang to bring in Fernandes without having to hamper their team. And I think that Havertz is going to play, and I think that Havertz is really good. So I've seen little bits and pieces from the Bundesliga, and he looks ridiculous. Ali has pretty comfortable fixtures off the start. Depending on what we see out of Havertz or Ali, we can choose which one we want to get out. Maybe we think that they're both providing excellent value. Maybe Ali goes and scores the opening game week. Maybe Havertz scores and playing as like a second striker, kind of like how we think they might play. Because Havertz likes that intricate 1-2 play. Ali likes getting in the box for crosses, much like Kane. And we may think that Martial is a better pick than Fernandes, who at the moment is actually still in Portugal on vacation or leave or whatever you want to call it. Rashford has had his own bits of struggles and had an injury which made him back out of the England team. You had Martial, who was on fire for France, so he could be the one that we go for. and it's a very easy process to make these transfers. So I'll just give you just show you kind of on screen here. So basically what we would do is we would say, okay, Mitrovic or Adams, which one look better? Let's say Adams doesn't even start and he just plays awful. We can get rid of Adams in game week for game week 2. You bring in Martial, and it looks like that. Game week 3, you take out Aubameyang. Let's say we choose De Bruyne as our pick. We bring in De Bruyne, and then in game week 4, we don't do anything. And then in game week for game week 5, we can drop the likes of Havertz and Mitrovic, and we can put in Aguero and get a 4.5 million midfielder. And or what we could do is we could take out Ali as well, and then maybe we go for something like maybe Greenwood is playing, and maybe United don't get Sancho. We bring him in, and then we also can bring in Souček as well, and then we play 2 cheaper midfielders with a heavier front line. There's many different things that we can do, and yeah. So yeah, this is the team that I currently have, which is the cheaper option where we can spread the money around, because at least he's Nuno Espirito Santo said that Vinagre is looking quite good. So I think that and he's valuable to the team. So even if he gets sold after game week 1, it's not the end of the world. We're gonna basically play all our players that are in the starting lineup anyway. Since Liverpool pictures are tough in next 2 and game week 3, double Liverpool defense puts me on. See, but the thing is, you have to kind of think about it in a different way. So yes, Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold, they're not really defenders in a sense, right? They're players that can get. They think of them as midfielders that can also get clean sheets. So if you think, what 7.5 midfielder is going to get you close to 200 points a season, even 180 points? Like let's actually go. I'm gonna go take a look. Let's see. Like, so Robertson got 100. I'm gonna say let's say even they get 170 points, right? So let's go to transfers. Let's go to midfielders, and we'll go to ones that cost 7.5. So 7.5 or higher. The highest last season was Jack Grealish, who was thought to have been carrying Aston Villa. He only got 149 points. And then he played 3,200 minutes. Now, another thing that you also have to consider is that Liverpool only got 14 clean sheets last season. The season before that, they got 21, 22, something ridiculous like that. So you probably think maybe they get somewhere in between and they try to repeat their title. That's what I'm kind of looking at. And another one, Mason Mount, played a lot of games for Chelsea. Yeah, he's probably going to get more than maybe 137 points. Or is he? He might not. Because of the fact that he's going to be on borrowed time. Because of the signings that they made. You know? Even if we boost it up to 8 million. 8 million, you're looking at Willian, 168. He's just barely creeping in there. Let's even go to 8.5. Riyad Mahrez only had 175 points last season. So just barely under 180. So I just think that, and especially with the reason I like it so much is that even if they don't get clean sheets in the first few game weeks, that's fine. They can get rid of attacking returns, and I think they will. Because Liverpool, when their intensity's high, Alexander-Arnold and Robertson are the keys to Liverpool winning. Yes, people will say Salah. Yes, people will say Sadio Mane. But Trent and Robertson are the reason that Liverpool's system works the way it does. And I think that that's going to be crucial. So if you look at potentially... So let's say, okay, yeah, Leeds at home, they'll probably keep a clean sheet. Maybe they don't. It's fine. Chelsea away, not expecting a clean sheet, but Trent could easily bang in a free kick or something. Arsenal at home, well, they just destroy Arsenal for a living every time they play them. Aston Villa away, could be a clean sheet there. Everton away, it's a derby. It'll probably be pretty gritty, but they'll be up for it, so maybe a clean sheet there. Sheffield United doesn't score, and it's at home. West Ham at home. Again, easy fixture there. Man City away is a bit rough, and then you have all of this nice fixtures right here, where the toughest team that they have to play is Spurs and Wolves, and maybe Leicester you could put on that list too. But again, it's a lot of very good fixtures for Liverpool. Now, their defense probably puts me off in this section, where they play City at home, Leicester away, Spurs away, Man United at home. Because by then, potentially, there's fans back on the ground, and then things change a lot. That's another thing as well. Liverpool will be even better when the fans are back in the ground too. So having them in allows me, if I need to, let's say, you know, Robertson and Trent aren't doing too hot, and the likes of Doherty or Digne or something like that's providing better value, I can always go down to them. I can always go down to one of those players. But you can't captain any defender while most people will captain Salah during that time. That's perfectly fine. They can captain Salah. I can captain Aubameyang. I can captain Bruno Fernandes. I can captain Kevin De Bruyne. There are a lot of options. So like game week 1 and 2, game week 1, I can captain Werner or Aubameyang. Arguably Aubameyang is probably better than Salah as an example. Game week 2, we bring in Fernandes or Martial. They play Crystal Palace at home. No problem. Actually, let's just take a look at the fixtures here. So, and then Salah's got Chelsea. Okay, so we just captain a United player, or Aubameyang at home to Arsenal. That's fine too. They want to captain Salah. That's fine. Also, not to mention that Salah only scored 4 away goals all of last season on the road, so that's another problem for him. Then Liverpool's next fixture, home to Arsenal. Okay, yeah, he could probably do some damage there as well. But I can also captain potentially Kevin De Bruyne at home to Leicester, who won't have all their defenders back. I can also potentially captain Timo Werner or Havertz or Martial, who they play West Brom and Brighton, who are potentially going to get, you know, in trouble this season. Game week 4, okay, we're looking at Salah potentially as a captaincy against Aston Villa. I will agree, that's a very good fixture. But Chelsea is home to Crystal Palace. That could be a Timo Werner fixture. We'll also have information on the fact that how did Liverpool do against Leeds. Potentially Captain De Bruyne here. United play Spurs at home. Could be a tough fixture, but United typically do quite good against Spurs at home. Potentially, there could be some people bringing in. Some people could have even be Maverick and put Calvert-Lewin at home to Brighton. Could be a captaincy. Not that they'll do it, but over like the likes of Salah or something like that. But there are definitely options. Game week 5, Everton versus Liverpool. That's a derby match. Typically, you don't get much from there. But Chelsea have another home game versus Southampton. Looks good on paper. City, up and away until the last couple of times that they played them. City usually batter Arsenal during the mid-season. United play Newcastle. If you have Harry Kane's at home to West Ham. Could be a nice fixture there. Then the fixtures start to get a little bit better for Liverpool. They're at home to Sheffield United. Okay, that could be quite good. United play Chelsea. They're kind of up against each other. But City have West Ham. Could be a good fixture. Could be a good fixture there. And then you have Liverpool's good run. But again, these are also good runs for clean sheets too. Now Salah could easily score a hat-trick in this game in West Ham, but I could have him back by game week 7. I might see that, like, because my plan is basically looking at Aguero for game week 5. The problem is that with Mohamed Salah, you want to be looking at captaining him more times than you're not if you have him in your team, right? So if I'm looking at Liverpool in the first, because I'm looking at the first 5 game weeks, am I going to captain versus Leeds at home? Potentially, but I could also captain Aubameyang as well, or even Timo Werner. So there's kind of I still think there's a debate to be had there. Chelsea away, am I captaining him? No. Arsenal at home? Maybe. But you have United versus Brighton. You have Chelsea versus West Brom. Aston Villa away? Yeah, there's an argument to be had there. Potentially. Everton away, Sheffield United at home. Like, out of the first 7, you can probably say I can captain a Liverpool player in Game Week 1, even though I don't think he's the best there. I think Aubameyang is. Game Week 4 and Game Week 7. So Game Week 4, I think Chelsea at home to Crystal Palace could be a better fixture, depending on how Timo Werner starts off. Remember, Ziyech will be back by then, should be back by then. Pulisic could be back by then. We could see where everyone's kind of playing as well. And then in Game Week 7, you say Leeds at home to West Ham. Okay, that makes sense. Chelsea have Burnley, so that's not a bad fixture. And City have Sheffield United, so again, not a bad fixture. So Liverpool makes the most sense here. But again, we could have Salah back in by then. Or maybe we wait till after the Liverpool game, or like we wait until Game Week 10 to bring in Aguero. So let's look at let me look at City in terms of just like their fixture layout. So obviously they have a blank in Game Week 1. Don't want them for that. Wolves away, bit tricky. Leicester at home, you know, that's where we bring in De Bruyne. We're bringing Sterling, see how it goes. He'll be ticking along with some points. He's also on penalties as well. Leeds away, could be okay. Arsenal at home, they're going to get demolished, probably. If City play the way they should. West Ham away, could be good again, but we're still having De Bruyne for these games here. Assuming he's, you know, and even if he gets injured, we swap him and bring in Sterling, or we bring in somebody else in the City team. Sheffield United, Liverpool, Spurs, not great. But then you have this nice patch here for mainly 11 to 20, where you're looking at just, I mean, Fulham at home, Game Week 11. Like, that could be an absolute romping. Then you're also looking going into the new year. Brighton at home, Crystal Palace at home, West Brom away. And remember, they still have to play Aston Villa at home. And they could put that in a double game week somewhere in here. So, again, I'm going to try to see if I can save my wildcard for as long as possible. Potentially use it just before the Christmas period ends. So that I can save my other wildcard for later on. And I can just have my Aguero in the bag and potentially just have him in and out. There's so many assets that are expensive that you're gonna have to swap in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. That's gonna the way you can't have them all, unfortunately. So that's gonna be the way out. It's gonna be played. Best to rotate, safe way to go for the armband. Salah to Bruno. That's my plan of Game Week 2. Yeah, I thought of that as well. And the thing is, my whole reasoning behind it is I thought that if I have Salah in my team, like, so Aubameyang's probably going to have the armband for the first 2 game weeks, right? Or he's going to be ridiculously good for the fixtures that he has. Again, I might not even bring in Bruno. Martial at 9 million, do I have to captain him at 9 million? Not necessarily. But he's a Man United asset who are probably going to, if they're playing well, they'll destroy Palace no problem. I think the teams that you need to be looking at to potentially just like for defenses that could be weak this season. Palace, West Ham, Brighton, Newcastle, Fulham, West Brom. You know, teams like that are probably going to be somewhat weak defensively. So that's kind of ones I'm targeting. Yeah, Palace, West Ham, Fulham, yeah. Well, Fulham, it depends. If Fulham's home, they go for it a little bit more. But if they're away, then yeah, sure. That makes sense. That would make sense to me. But if Doherty's playing, I like him better because my plan is to basically think... my 2 reasonings for the way I went for this, like, this style of team is I want to make as little defensive, as in like defenders and goalkeeper transfers as possible. I don't want to ever have to make a defender or goalkeeper transfer unless it's on like a wild card or unless somebody's injured. Because you want to be using your transfers on what matters the most, which is your midfielders and your attackers, because you're going to be swapping them out a lot. So like Chelsea, let's look at Chelsea's fixtures. So like, do we necessarily want Chelsea You know, in this bunch of fixtures here, you know, where they play United away, Burnley away, Sheffield United at home. Do we really need two to three Chelsea assets there? Probably not. Probably not. And you can even extend that. Tottenham at home, you know, could be tough. Leeds will always put up a good fight. Everton away, Wolves away are never easy fixtures. And then it's this bad patch. So when you kind of see who's on penalties and who's getting the goals, then you kind of have to see how things go. Same with United and Arsenal and all these teams. You don't want them for the whole time. Like, we want Aubameyang for these opening too. Of course we do. We want Aubameyang for these fixtures here. Game week 16 through 20. We want Aubameyang for the end of the season, probably. You know, these sorts of things, assuming they're fit, obviously. You can change to Mars or Greenwood. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. I can always go down. That's the thing. That's the one thing I want to avoid, is having to go up as much as possible. So let's say Robertson isn't doing too well. Well, I could just downgrade him to a 5 million defender, and I can bring in somebody for an extra 2 million, and still keep Trent. You know, and I still have a Liverpool spot open, so I don't have Brewster on the bench as much as I would like him to go to like Sheffield United or something. And then he's a 4.5 million forward. That would be quite nice. But, yeah. I think that I might... Because, like, with the... So, with the I'll just change to the Doherty team really quickly. So, get rid of him, get rid of him, get rid of him. Boom, boom, boom. So, like, with this team, basically, I mean, it looks like Aurier is probably on his way out the door. Almost certainly. And if I knew that 100% for sure, Spurs have a great run of fixtures. And Doherty, like, people will say, like, Son is going to play wide and that sort of stuff. I think that is the case, but when Spurs play, when they have the ball in possession and they're in transition, what they do is, so they usually play 4 at the back. So you have Davies at left back, you have Alderweireld with Dyer, seem to be the pairing of center backs. Doherty's going to come in at right back. They're going to have 2 functional, like, midfielders, so Højbjerg's going to be one of them, and the other one, depending on the situation, is probably going to be maybe the likes of Lo Celso when he's fit. If they want to go a bit more defensive, they'll probably put Lo Celso in the 10, and then they'll put, like, Sissoko in there as well. But it's probably going to be, to start the season at least, it's going to be Højbjerg, and then either Winks or Sissoko, because I think Lo Celso is like touch and go for the start of the first game of the season. They'll have Dele Alli, who's been performing quite well in preseason. He'll be in the 10. You'll have Son out on the left. You'll have Lucas Moura, Lamela, Bergwijn out on the right, and then you have Kane up top. And with that, what you'll see is, in transition, Ben Davies tucks in to make a back 3. You'll have Højbjerg just in front of that. You'll have the other midfielder, so whether it's Lo Celso or Winks or something like that, getting forward a bit and kind of just going in front. So it's like a 3-1-1, and then you have your forwards either staying ridiculously wide, and you have like Doherty making like infield runs, like underlaps, or you have like an inside forward like Lamela or Lucas Moura that like to drift more inside, and then you have Doherty on the overlap, and then you have Dele Alli kind of playing off as like a shadow striker. That's kind of how I think that Chelsea is going to play. So if Reece James has the ball on one side, on the right hand side, he's going to be bombing forward, which means that Chilwell will tuck in at like center back, or they'll put Conte in front of that, and then they'll have Pulisic coming in at the back post. Havertz will be in kind of like the 10. You'll have Ziyech kind of cutting in or making deeper lying passes and allowing for the likes of Reece James to go in and around him, and you have Werner just running like just through the middle. So I think both teams can play very similarly in that regard because they're both set up in a 4-2-3-1. I think that's probably going to be the best. Chelsea's a lot easier to kind of put on paper because of just who they have. Werner's going to be through the middle. Pulisic will be out wide left when fit. Havertz will be just in behind as the number 10. Ziyech will be out wide right. You'll have Conte and Kovacic as your double pivot, because Kovacic can be a deep lying playmaker and Conte is just the screener. And then you'll have Chilwell one side, Reece James the other side. You'll have one center back and then Thiago Silva and the goalkeeper. So I think it's going to be pretty straightforward from there. But yeah, it depends on how they play. I think that Werner and Havertz are going to play, so that's why I have them. I think Dele Alli will play because he didn't go on international duty, much like a lot of his teammates. Yeah, Chelsea will play a 4-2-3-1. And then, like I said, depending on which side they're transitioning up the field, will depend on which fullback kind of tucks in. Or maybe what they might do is they might tuck Conte into the back three and have Kovacic just playing behind, and then they just have the fullbacks just bomb forward, and then you have the Pulisic and Ziyech kind of become inside forwards. So you have this W. So you have Werner at the top of the W. On either angles of the W there, you have Pulisic and Ziyech, and then out either side of that, you have up on the tips of the W, you have Chilwell and Reece James. And you attack with that five-man unit with Kovacic just in front of the back three, kind of just redistributing the ball, recycling the ball around. And that's basically how Liverpool play in a sense. So you have Salah and Mane kind of tucking in, some of them taking up the more central position. Firmino kind of drops in a little bit deeper, and they kind of play a little bit higher. So it's kind of more of a triangle with Firmino kind of just underneath it. And then you have their midfielders kind of recycling the ball all around. So, but yeah, Liverpool have been a bit more direct as well, which favors the fullbacks for attacking returns. Because you're going to have times where Trent's going to pick the ball up on, maybe they press, they get the ball back. Trent or Robertson wins it on the halfway line, through ball, bang in on goal. It's going to be Mane or Salah, and they're going to put it in the back of the net. Now, I'm perfectly fine with that if Salah or Mane score that, but also my Liverpool defense is also going to go through that. So let's say Robertson or Trent get assist, clean sheet, Salah gets a goal. Salah captain, he's not going to get many bonus points because Salah is he just doesn't rack up bonus points at all because he has a lot of unsuccessful dribbles. His passing isn't as great, and he gets involved a lot, which means he's going to miss a lot of chances. Whereas the likes of Alexander-Arnold and Robertson are going to pick up quite a lot of bonus, and they end up getting me for similar-ish values. So Robertson and Alexander-Arnold are 14.5 million. Salah's 12, so if you're paying an extra 2.5 million split across two players, you're going to get probably more points. So Doherty, Ali, or Son and Davies. I think Doherty and Ali balanced. I think mainly because Son will get in the box and shoot, but it's probably going to keep the width because Davies tends to, like I was discussing a little bit earlier, he tends to kind of tuck into the back three, and then Spurs have this lopsided formation where they're right back. So traditionally it was Aurier, now it's going to be Doherty. It's just going up and down, up and down, up and down that right-hand side. And Son will come in on the back post, which is what apparently from the documentary, I haven't seen any of the all or nothing from Spurs. Apparently Mourinho's been telling people on that other flank, get in the box, get in the box, get in the box. So whoever's playing out there, whether it's Lamela, whether it's Son, whoever, get in the box in there. And that favors Ali, in my opinion. So if you have Doherty and he's crossing the ball in, Ali's a very good header of the ball. Kane's a very good header of the ball. Son's an okay header of the ball. Not great, but Ali and Kane will be the targets. Also on set plays, Ali, Kane, Dyer, these sorts of players will be the targets. So basically what Spurs is like counter-attacking style, Son and Doherty slash like Moura and these kinds of players will most likely be like the assisters, whereas Kane and Ali will be the goal scorers, because Ali and Kane will arrive in the box looking for a cross, and they'll either put it in the back of the net when it's on the floor, or they'll put it in with their head. One of the two. So that's kind of what you're looking for there. So I would go with Doherty, Ali. That's what I've gone with personally. Although I have been thinking about basically upgrading the likes of Mitrovic to, or Adams, I haven't decided which one, to Calvert-Lewin, and then go with 2-4-5. So go with like Kyle Walker-Peters and Vinagre, because apparently Vinagre is staying with the team. And whether he gets rotated or not, we'll have to see. But yeah, that's kind of how Spurs play. Now, whether they change that this season, I don't know. But Jose Mourinho historically has always been a 4-2-3-1 man, or at least some type of variation of that. Who will score more, Bruno and Callum Wilson, or Martial and Havertz in the long term? I think that Martial and Havertz will, and here's my reasoning. So there will be times where it's 65, 70 minutes. And Werner's going to get hooked for the likes of Abraham or Giroud. If Giroud stays at the club, he's been linked moves to Juventus and that sort of stuff. And Havertz will be taking the penalties. Havertz is also on set pieces, most likely, and he's going to be the kind of the focal point. He's the talisman, as it were. The straw that stirs the drink, as it were. Bruno's the same way, and Bruno's also on penalties. The thing is with Callum Wilson is that Newcastle don't create very many chances. So I think that long term you have Martial, who's the focal point of United's attack. The ball always ends up near him. And Havertz is going to be the talisman, or one of two talismen for with him and like Pulisic for creating chances. And then you have Bruno. Now, another thing that we also have to mention, is United going to get that many penalties? It's 14. They had 14 penalties last season, 12 the season before. Is United going to get that many penalties? If they get Jadon Sancho, I mean, anything could happen. They could get 20 penalties. And Bruno's going to be on all of them. We know the guy just scores that many. But I think overall, I think Havertz will significantly outscore. Havertz and Bruno might be similar-ish totals, because Havertz will create more from open play, probably. But Bruno will get more penalties, so Bruno might edge him out there. But Martial would definitely outscore Callum Wilson by such a landslide that Bruno and Havertz, like, let's say even Havertz scores 20 less points, 30 less points than Bruno, Martial is going to score 20, 30 points more than Callum Wilson. No problem. My other struggle is Ings to Martial or Adams to Calvert-Lewin. Is that in Game Week 2 balanced? If that's in Game Week... if that's in Game Week 2, you're probably looking at... if you have both Ings and Adams in your team, I would upgrade Ings to Martial, because you still have... I hate using the word cover, but you still technically have Southampton attack, as it were, in your team. Adams and Calvert-Lewin. I just think Martial is going to be ridiculously good. I just think he's so good. I think Calvert-Lewin could be good as well. But I like Martial a lot. Martial and Havertz in long term in these drafts have Salah, Aubameyang, TA, and Werner. Yeah, it just depends on kind of what type of team structure you want week on week, right? So I don't I'll put this out there like you know, for the most part. 4-3-3 I just don't like. Like the looks of it just doesn't look good. And the reason I say that is because you're gonna have to every time you have um every time you have to go you want another like so there's gonna be a situation where you're gonna have a 12 million midfielder, another premium midfielder, so it's gonna be like Bruno or higher, and then you're going to have an 8 to 9 million midfielder as well once we get a little bit extra money without hindering your team. And that's so much harder to do without a wild card with two 4.5s. Um, and it's just one of those things, really. Salah, Aubameyang, ASM, and Ali, that's a perfectly fine midfield. That's a perfectly fine midfield. And, you know, unfortunately, we're spoiled for choice for 6 million forwards. Which poses some questions. Is Mitrovic going to be as good as what he was off the start of the last time he was in the Premier League? Is Che Adams going to be as good as what he was at towards the end of the season? Are 6.5 million forwards going to be a bit better? So like I like the moves that Newcastle are doing. I'm just not sure attacking wise that Steve Bruce is going to be able to keep the same defensive solidity because it didn't look like it in preseason. So we'll just have to see on that front. Do you think Robert will cover your Salah missing? I don't like using the word cover, but my thing is this: if you have Salah in your team, so like anyone that costs like 12 million, so Salah and Aubameyang specifically, Salah, Aubameyang, Mane, you can even put Sterling and De Bruyne in that category, right? Either one or two things need to happen. One, they need to be ticking over with really good points game in, game out. Or two, they have to be a captain choice. Looking at Liverpool's fixtures, I mentioned it earlier on the stream. In the first 7 game weeks, I could consider captaining Salah in Game Week 1, Game Week 4, and Game Week 7, just based on the fixtures, the FDR rating, right? Game Week 1 Leeds at home, Aubameyang has Fulham. Fulham were worse than Leeds. Aubameyang could do better, and Aubameyang's been really, 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 really good since the FA Cup to end the season. Even in preseason, he just always scores. Aston Villa away in Game Week 4. Yes, you can say that's a really good fixture, but also Timo Werner plays Crystal Palace at home. Could just end up demolishing them there. Game Week 7 is probably the only one where you can make arguments and say, okay, yeah, Liverpool have the best fixture there, but by that time, I may have Salah back in, potentially. Maybe I get rid of De Bruyne for when they play Sheffield United away, Liverpool at home, Spurs away, and I bring Salah back in for that. When Salah's playing, Salah will be playing West Ham at home. He does play City, and then he plays Leicester, and then Brighton. And then I can get rid of him for when City start playing Fulham. They play United, which isn't great. But then they play West Brom. They play Southampton. They play Newcastle. So again, it's just about balancing out your heavy hitters, really. That's the name of the game this season. How well can you nail the captaincy while balancing out your heavy hitters? That's kind of the key point there. TA, Doherty, Egan, Justin, and Mitchell. I don't think Sheffield United will be as good this season defensively, because Dean Henderson was a big part of why they kept clean sheets. So Ramsdale could still provide for them, but I don't think they're going to be as good as what they were. I think the consistency that they showed post-lockdown is going to be around where they are, and they'll probably end up like 12th or 13th. I think that's where I put them in my prediction video, which I have over on YouTube. Aubameyang leaves for Kevin De Bruyne or Sterling in Game Week 3. 100%. And that's mainly because Aubameyang plays Liverpool away. So I don't want him playing against my defenders. So plus I'm a United fan. So I'd rather Arsenal. I mean, if Liverpool beat Arsenal, I'd rather them beat Arsenal because of just FPL purposes. But Liverpool away, Sheffield United home, City away, Leicester at home, United away. That doesn't bode well for Aubameyang. Yes, he's good enough to score in every fixture that exists in the entire season, but I think you have better options there. And I think KDB over that time will provide more. Maybe Sterling provides more, we'll have to see. But yeah, that's basically how we'll do it. So basically, like, the plan with this team would be Game Week 2, we can get rid of Ali or Havertz or Adams and Mitrovic for any of the United assets that we could potentially want. Game Week 3, Aubameyang out for KDB. Game Week 4, do nothing. Game Week 5, during the international break, going with 2 free transfers, and then look to see what we can do there. How does Salah get back in, or are you rotating these 3 out of 4? So Salah would come back in time for like Game Week 7 onwards, maybe, or something. So what I'm thinking for Game Week 5 is maybe Aguero, but we have to kind of see on that front. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Because I can bring Salah back in for Game Week 7 when I think he's probably the best captainer there. Like, that seems to be the best on paper. Brighton away, he could be a decent captain option. But again, what you want to look at for Salah in particular is when does he play a bad defensive team at home? Because that's where Salah gets all his points. Last season, we mentioned it earlier, only 4 goals away from home last season. And he scored, what, 20 goals or something? So 16 of them were at home or something like that. Current draft is 3-4-3. Ryan Button, TAA, Kyle Peters, Justin, Ferguson, Mitchell. Salah, Aubameyang, Havertz, ASM with Burke. Werner, Ings, Mitchell. Planning Ings to Martial. Game Week 2, 0-5 in the bank. Perfectly good strategy. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. How much is Burke, by the way? Oh, he's 4.5. He's quite cheap. Do we think he's going to start? I mean, he's going to be on my bench. But... so, like, who are they going to play in midfield most weeks? They'll play Norwood, Fleck, and then either Berg or Lundstrom. Oh, so if he comes on, he'll play in an attacking role? But is he gonna like start game in, game out, or no? It's gonna be like what, Fleck, Norwood, and then Lundstrom, Berg, or Burke? Because I know Reed starts, but he's kind of defensive. Yeah, screw it. We'll just put him in, just for giggles. I mean, he's a bench option, so it doesn't really matter. Berg is injured. Oh, okay. So does that mean how long is did it say how long Berg is out? Let's see. Well, Freeman's out. It says he has a knock. We'll see. I'll have him in there. I mean, again, he's a bench option. He's probably going to get a sub appearance most games. I mean, our team, we want to start game in, game out anyway, so... like, our defenders, when fit, are going to start every game. Our midfield, when fit, is going to start every game. And our forwards, which after game week 1, won't be Che Adams, probably, or Mitrovic, even still. Let's say we get rid of Che Adams for Martial. Martial starts, Mitrovic starts, Werner starts, Aubameyang starts. Ali mostly starts. Ali's the only one I'm kind of worried about. If he has a dip in form. So. And another reason why people would be kind of confused as to why I like have Ferguson. So Ferguson is going to be one of those. Ferguson is most likely going to come in at right back when he's fit. So he's apparently out for another like 3 weeks or so. 3-4 weeks, something like that. He's going to be coming back the same time Pereira comes back ish, like after the international break, I think. For he's going to come in for a Ward. Ferguson will come in for Ward. Leicester is the team Pereira plays for. Does it say when TAA is out till? Because Trent, or PVA rather, not TAA. Yeah, he's still recovering from his shoulder dislocation, so they don't know. But Mitchell's, it's from the sounds of it, the word that we're getting is that Mitchell's probably gonna be good for at least the first few. Why not use Ings for now and then go with Martial next week? Because the money that I have in the bank, I can upgrade Ali or Havertz, whichever one I choose, and Adams or Mitrovic to any United player I want. So I have 3 million in the bank. I can go up to Bruno Fernandes in one transfer for Ali or Havertz, depending on which one I choose. I can get Rashford as well. I can get Adams or Mitrovic out for Martial as well. That's why I've done it that way. So Adams still allows me to have a Southampton attacker, but at the same time still maintain flexibility to see, because United play a friendly game tomorrow at 9 a.m. EST against Aston Villa, and we could see I could have Ings in my team. Martial plays in that game, gets injured or something, or he's out for a few weeks, and I don't know when he's coming back. Fernandes is still in Portugal at the moment, from what we know. He may not be. I mean, he's probably going to be back in time, but he might not be back in time for the Palace game. So then I go with Rashford. You know, that sort of thing can potentially happen. So we'll have to see. If I had to select one United, so if we're going off of the way Wilson instead of Adams in Game Week 1, the only reason I don't do that, there was a reasoning why I didn't want a 6.5 million forward. There was some reasoning why I didn't want a 6.5 million forward. I can't remember why though. I'll have to look at it. I'll do some tinkering in a second. Once I just answer this other question. Since you're a United fan, which best asset? So if the way United should play, Martial, probably, because he's just always. Like, if he gets taken down for a pen, Bruno's going to score it, so he gets an assist. The ball's going to be played into him, he's going to score. Like, and he's a forward now, so his BPS is going to be higher. So, and the thing is with Martial, he typically gets 1, maybe 2 chances a game, but he always puts it away. So his BPS is going to be high. He's always going to get 3 bonus. He's going to be like Ings, but better, probably, if he stays fit. Now, if it's United, like post-lockdown United, Fernandes, because he's on every set piece. So, I would say that. But let's do some tinkering. Let's think about Wilson. So basically, let's I'll take out Adams. So Wilson. So if I have Wilson in Game Week 2, we take out Ali. We bring in. I'm just going with like the highest amount of money that I can spend. So I go to Fernandes, take out Aubameyang out to De Bruyne. Then I do 2 transfers to get in Aguero. Can I do I can do that. That's possible. I can do Wilson. I didn't even think of that now that I think about it. Because I forgot to... I keep thinking Fernandez is 11 million. So yeah, that's definitely possible. The only thing is that I would have to... If I kept in Mitrovic, I could get a 5 million midfielder. So, in this case, I would have to get a 4.5 midfielder. And then just go 4-3-3. Which I don't really like too much. But probably the more favorable thing would be... if I want Aguero, this is like the plan. And Wilson and ASM is probably too much. Yeah, I agree with that too. And then I would have, instead of Reed, I would have like Souček or something. That would be kind of like what we're looking for. And then we don't do anything for in game week. So this would be going into game week 5. We don't do any transfers for game week 6. Game week 7, we could take out De Bruyne, bring Salah back in, and then find 0.5 from somewhere. When the Spurs' fixtures suck. So they have Brighton at home, West Brom away. Or maybe I downgrade Fernandez to Rashford or something. Yeah, that's doable. I didn't think of that. So I could potentially have Wilson in. But yeah, I think I might agree with John Wick that Wilson and ASM are too much. But if it is technically for... Well, let's look at it. So, Newcastle, in their opening... Because we're thinking that they could potentially get axed in Game Week 2. Or Game Week 5. So if it's Game Week 2, it's not great to get rid of Newcastle because they play Brighton at home. But they have pretty bad fixtures after that. Whereas Fulham have Leeds away, which could be okay, Aston Villa at home, and then Wolves away, Sheffield United. It's a bit tricky, that one. Or let's say Che Adams. Che Adams fixtures are pretty decent. Again, they're all a bit mixed bag. Why is everyone so set on Mitro? I think he'll be awful, to be honest. If the team does bad, he's not even touching the ball. That is true, but if Fulham score, Mitrovic scores. That's pretty much how it works. Like, if Fulham score 50 goals a season, he scores 25 of them. Like, that's pretty much how it works. At least. But, again, he's a 6 million forward. So, what you have to do is, a lot of people will say compare him to the other 6 million forwards. And there's an argument there. But you can also compare him to other 6 million priced players. So, 6 million defenders. So, like, you have to think, is there better value potentially in a 4.5 million forward and a 6 million defender? Or is there better value in a 4.5 million defender and a 6 million forward? I think the latter is probably better. Oh, no, that's why... No. I could still do it with Wilson because he's a forward. If I wanted to get Martial, I would have to take out Wilson though. So if I wanted to go for Martial, that was the other reasoning. If I wanted to go for Martial in game week 2 over Fernandez or something like that, I would have to take out Wilson. That was the reasoning. I just remembered. So like if I have Callum Wilson here, and I want to go Martial, game week 2, one transfer, I have to take out Wilson. Yeah, Bruce, and then this thing, if Brewster moves to Sheffield United, then yeah, sure. But unfortunately, he takes up a Liverpool spot, and since I have double pool defense at the moment, um, um, there's always better value in defenders. Yep, there is, and that's why you want a 6 million forward. Yes, the like if we look at, let's just look at the 6 million, or I'll even do the 6.5 million forwards. So forwards, 6.5. Chris Wood, not really exciting. Jordan Ayew, not really exciting. Mopai can be good, but not really on the plate. Callum Wilson, we know he's done it before. Oh, did you tell me? Oh, my bad. Antonio, good, but fixtures are pretty ass. You know, after they're not great after Game Week 3 onwards. They're just not great. Haller 6.5, again unproven, and he's plays for West Ham. Yeah, and Fulham's fixtures are like pretty good. Like they're pretty good. Who else? Jay Rodriguez, again, same boat as Chris Wood. McBurney, Musette, Joel Linton, not really looking at them. Wesley's still potentially injured. Yeah, the dude scores. He scores goals in the championship. When he came up last time, he scored. I think it was like 12 goals, and like he scored like almost a goal a game, something like that, or close to. I can't remember what it was, but it was pretty good. Yeah, and most of those goals were in the first like 12 to 14 game weeks. So he starts off quite nice, and then when Fulham go into a relegation battle, then it's a problem. I like the way you're thinking about this whole FPL team. Thanks. I like to think I'm thinking about it good as well. But again, game week 1 can come along and just go clapped. Your team got 16 points. Now what are you doing? You know, that can happen. If this team could look brilliant on paper, and I go out there and Havertz pulls up with something, Ali gets sent off because he's cussing the ref, Mitrovic gets sent off because he's cussing the ref, Werner misses a penalty, Callum Wilson is Callum Wilson from Bournemouth, and then it's not looking too great. I finished 33k last year, or thereabouts, something like that. And that was the first season, I would say, that I like went like above like even 25%. I would say I put in around like 90 to 95% like effort. And now with like doing the videos and that sort of stuff, we're now like fully I'm putting in the full 100%. I have stats to look at and that sort of stuff over on the members area, which is fantastic, by the way, for Fantasy Football Scout. But yeah. Salah Brace incoming. Why do you not live stream on YouTube? I think the reason is because initially I started Twitch first, like when I was doing all my stuff, and I think I just kind of kept with it, to be honest. I considered like live streaming over on YouTube, but I kind of want Twitch to develop a little bit. Maybe eventually what we'll do is so at the moment, since YouTube is still relatively small, still only 3/4 of the way to 1K subscribers over there. You'll get a lot of followers and you can be the new guy in the community. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But maybe I need a more impressive rank than just 33k to bump that up a little bit. But again, not many people are on Twitch. I consider this, as a game in a sense. Fantasy is technically a game that you play. Twitch is a site where you stream games. Now, it's not the most exciting game in terms of like visually on the screen. It happens all on your all in in Manchester and in London. They play the games over there, and then it just happens that numbers come up on your screen and it tells you a score at the end of the week. It's not like Fortnite where you're building all these different things and that sort of stuff, but it's still technically a game. So that's why I kind of felt that it was going to be on Twitch. Maybe what I'll do is at some point, once it starts to get a little, up and up, then what I'll do is I'll segment Twitch off to one side, and that'll be like the gaming stuff. So that'll be like when I play Legends of Runeterra, League of Legends, Final Fantasy 14, that sort of stuff. That can be like Twitch, and then I can make its own channel for that. And then FPL, I can do the live streams on there, on YouTube, and then go from there. But I kind of want to, get the balance of all the platforms at first. So get a little bit of following on Twitter, get a little bit of following on Twitch, get a little bit of following on YouTube. And then what you can do basically from there is that if people like your FPL stuff, they already know you're over on Twitch, so they'll be like, okay, let's check out what he does, gaming-wise. Last week, we just finished playing Detroit Become Human. Fantastic game, I recommend it. Easy 9 out of 10 for me. Never played it before, fantastic game. And I'm gonna be posting on Sundays one piece a week for that. So again, it's just a way, it's kind of, you level everything out, you get the balancing act, and then you say, okay, where can we go from here? Because ideally what I'll have is like I'll change the name of the main channel to like Pilot Flame FPL, and then we'll have the gaming channel like Pilot Flame Plays or Pilot Flame Gaming or something like that. And then you'll have the Twitch will be where you stream the Pilot Flame Gaming stuff, and then the FPL channel will be where on YouTube will be where I stream FPL. That's a bit long term, but again, we got to get better than 33k. We got to get better than 33k. So if you don't think I'm taking on my own league seriously, you got the wrong idea, because the Flames Recruits is for Pilot Flame to take over. And if you haven't joined the league, make sure to do so. League code is just above me. Also, the link is over on Twitter, in my Twitter bio as well. But yeah, that's the plan. Also, Balance, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. But yeah, that's just the overall plan. And we like to do some other fun things that, where when you have a lot of chat interaction. So I've seen like a lot of FPL streams. There's a lot of chat interaction, and we can't do fun stuff initially when you're a little bit on the smaller side, to do stuff like score predictions like this, and like our clean sheet differential stuff like that, which you would normally do on like a talk show, which we typically do at the beginning. That's kind of like our housekeeping, as it were. I feel it's too risky to go without a huge player and have 3 in the bank. Ings and Salah can always score 2 to open it up, and that's already so many points. But Kai Havertz was arguably the Bundesliga's best player, apart from maybe Lewandowski last season. Aubameyang can match that in this game week. And Werner was probably there as well. Oh, Papamino? Yeah. So that's the score predictions, I think. That's what I usually do. What I usually do every week on the Game Week preview is I put the score predictions up. We do those first. Then we see how the team did. Then we talk about transfers and stuff. That's typically what I was doing. And then posting it onto YouTube. I'm going to post this on YouTube as well after this as well. So no fear on that front. But yeah, I think Arsenal should win comfortably. Southampton should win comfortably. Liverpool should win comfortably. Because Liverpool, the reason their intensity dropped was because they were rotating like Trent and Robertson out, and they had already known they won the league. Now they got to start fresh. They got to retain their title, so they have to be even better than what they were. And they have to go into the season with the mindset that Leeds is not going to be an easy game. They have to go game week 1, first game out the gate, bang, prove a point. Be like, look, we were on the beach a little bit towards the end of the season, but now we're back. Newcastle, West Ham could be a lot of goals in that. Leicester should beat West Brom. Spurs and Everton, I think, could be quite close. Can go either way. Wolves and Sheffield United is probably going to be quite boring, personally. And then Chelsea should smash Brighton to bits. And then I put a lot of like pretty common picks here. But typically what I try to do is go for like a not necessarily an obvious clean sheet and some like differential players, as it were, like lower owned players. The only problem, they are low win empty stands. Liverpool are badly affected. They are. However, if there's anything that Klopp knows how to do, it's instill a willing mentality into his team, because he did do back-to-back with Dortmund, I believe. So he knows how to retain a title. The team knows how to win. And they know that if they lose a game, City is going to win their game. That's just how it works. They have the... Both those clubs, City and Liverpool now, is like every week, they're like, we have to win because we know Man City will win. And you can even put Chelsea in that conversation now. They know they have to do that. They have to win, like, literally every game. And that's just the mentality that's going to be instilled in those players. Another thing is that you get a little bit of a psychological... a new psychological advantage, because City and United don't play right off the bat. So if Liverpool get their win over Leeds right out the gate, it'll be like, okay, City, you now have to go away to Wolves. What are you gonna do? You didn't play well versus them last season. Are you gonna be 0 points after your first game, and we're gonna be on 6 points, and now you got to catch up with us? It's a bit of a mind game. Chelsea are gonna be the new United after lockdown. I think Chelsea are extremely scary. But it all depends on how they utilize Thiago Silva and how he adapts to the Premier League. Because I think Chilwell would be good. I think Reece James is a great young player and will do well. Havertz, Werner, Ziyech, Pulisic, they're all fantastic players. Conte, Kovacic, their front six is ridiculous. Is their goalkeeper going to be upgraded? And how well is Thiago Silva going to fit into the Premier League? And can he coach the center back alongside him for the like year or two that he's at Chelsea to become more of a leader, you know, this dominant figure, this Virgil van Dijk type figure down the back, this Vincent Kompany when he played for City, this Nemanja Vidic, this Rio Ferdinand, you know, this type of these you know, imposing figureheads of the team, to instill this mentality that even if you go down, you need to pick yourself back up. How did you settle the Robbo Virgil van Dijk debate? Robertson was arguably Liverpool's best defender in preseason and in the final few games that they played. And Robertson creates a ridiculous amount of chances and is on half the corners. And can sometimes take set plays that aren't direct as well. Even paying the extra $500,000, I thought it was worth it. Because there's going to be games, like there was a couple games last season where Robertson gets like 2 assists, Trent gets goal from a free kick assist, they both keep a clean sheet. And like Naby Keita, Fabinho, and like Henderson score. That's very possible, you know. Yeah, Virgil van Dijk will get a few headers. Like there was one game this last season, I think it was, where he got a brace. I think it was off like two set pieces, but that doesn't happen very often. Whereas like Trent can easily get the same amount from just free kicks alone. I mean, Mane and Salah are very good at winning free kicks because of how threatening they are. And just the way Liverpool have been transitioning more to this like more direct style. Favors them significantly. So Klopp's like kind of tweaked and altered his team to be not as much of a crazy high pressing team, to be more controlled in their pressing, and when they do press, they win the ball back in such a good place that if it's on the left foot of Robertson or on the right foot of Trent, that ball is in and behind and is danger zones for the enemy team. So that's kind of how I see it. And plus, like we mentioned, if you go look at the 7.5, we even went all the way up to the 8.5 midfielders. Look at how many points they scored in comparison to Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson last season. They didn't. That's the thing. you have to think of Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson as midfielders, like central midfielders, like the likes of like Keita, like how Decore is probably going to play for Everton now, like how Pogba's going to play potentially for United. These are midfielders that are going to pick up assists every now and again. They'll pop up with a goal every now and again, but they can also get clean sheets, and they're cheaper than those types of players. That's how it is. Is Berg the best 4.5 bit? No, I just threw him in there just because of whatever. You can go with Burke, you can go with Reed, you can go with Basuma. Burke is apparently, you know, he's going to be a little bit more attacking and whatnot. But again, it's just neither here nor there. I might put it back to Reed because I know he's going to play. But is what it is. I mean, in an ideal scenario, none of my bench plays. Ever. Which is what you want. You never want your bench to play. If the players you go to put out on the field are the lineup that you think is going to be the best, you never want your bench to play. Unless you want to get a cheeky little, like, 15-pointer or something like I had from Lundstrom or whatever it was last season. That you definitely want. And you hope that some of your players don't play for that. But, you know, that's just the way it is. Why don't you put Salah in the place of Ali and 3 Liverpool for game week 1? Will look scary. It will look scary. But I would need 1 extra million for starters. So I would need to downgrade like Doherty to a 5 million. Then I wouldn't be able to get Martial if I wanted to. I could only get Rashford or Bruno Fernandes. But again, Marcus Rashford may not be as fit. Yeah, Doherty to Davies to Dyer to somebody like that. And then I would have zero, you know, no money in the bank. But it's a matter of I just want to have all United options completely open. Because again, Bruno Fernandes is still reportedly in Portugal. But if he comes back, I'm looking at him over the other two. Then I would say Martial is probably next on the list. And then Rashford's probably final. Another thing that's also a possibility, now this is very unlikely, what if United signed Jadon Sancho? Let's say Monday morning, Jadon Sancho's there holding up the shirt. And he's 10.5 million. I can't get him unless I, one, take out Salah. Or maybe I think that with Jadon Sancho coming in, Martial is an even better asset because we know that that Sancho and Rashford will create chances even more so for him because Rashford will be the more direct type where Sancho likes to do the trickery, play 1-2s, which Martial likes to do as well, and play the ball along the floor, which Martial likes as well. Martial doesn't like the ball in the air. He likes the ball on the ground at his feet or coming in across where he can just tap it in the back of the net because he's developed that poacher style. But I can easily see Sancho comes in, see Sancho kind of coming in off the right-hand side, gets the ball, 1-2 with Martial, boom. No, it was just like they added, like, there was a year extra on his contract that was, like, added. It was like an option. Like, you know how the players that say, oh, the option for a further year? They just basically enacted that. And the reason they did that is because they saw interest in Sancho. They didn't tell anyone about it. And then when United comes to the table, they look at it and go, oh, he's more expensive than what we thought. Even though we knew he was going to be 120 million euros anyway. Yeah. We'll have to see. Again, we'll have to kind of see. But I want to keep all options open, and I think like if Sancho does come in, it makes Martial even better. So it just makes him, because again, United's attack literally goes midfield, 1-2s with Martial. Martial's on the end of it. So I want to keep that option open. And if I have Salah in the team, I can't do that without doing 2 moves. Which I don't want to do because I don't want to take a hit in the first first game week, if I can avoid it. And if Salah scores 2 goals and they win 2-0 or 2-1 or something like that, and people have him captained, I just have to hope that Aubameyang does the same, or Timo Werner does the same, or Havertz does the same, or something like that. I just need to make sure that, you know, it's better. I think overall structurally it's better, because most people, again, and this is one, I'll do it on one final point because it's getting a little bit late, and I need to do the little bit of do the announcements basically at the end. There's a very likely chance that where's Liverpool? Saturday or Sunday before the game week's even over, Salah could be going down in price because everyone's getting rid of him for Bruno Fernandes or somebody like that for game week 2. That's another possibility that people also have to think about. So yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those things that we have to think about. And if Salah goes down in price, that 0.1, even though he could score a hat trick in his first game week, he still might go down in price. That's another thing. So yeah, could be definitely interesting. Yeah, thank you all for joining me on the Game Week 1 preview stream. As a note, for those that don't know, deadline stream fresh tomorrow morning. The deadline for me is 7 a.m. my time. I am 1 hour ahead of EST, so the deadline is 6 a.m. EST, which means I will be up and the stream will be starting at 6 a.m. my time, which is 5 a.m. EST, so nice and early. So that is in, so 6 a.m. my time is in 8.5 hours. So the stream will be up then for deadlines, for last minute tinkering and that sort of stuff. So make sure to give us a follow over on Twitter if you haven't done so already. Join the league. You'll be able to see us see when we go live over there. Yeah, I'll be up 1 hour, whatever your time zone is, 1 hour before the deadline. Just remember that I'll be up. The stream will be up. So whether you're in the States, West Coast, East Coast, UK, India, Japan, Korea, Italy, it doesn't matter. We'll be here, and we'll be definitely helping people out. So yeah, make sure to follow us over on Twitter so you can get the notification when it comes up, and we'll be seeing you then shortly. And I'll put this up on YouTube as well, so that if you want to give it a little watch for maybe things that were missed earlier on in the stream, you can definitely check that out. So I'm going to do that immediately, and then I'm going to sleep, because then I'll be up for the deadline stream, because 8.5 hours might not be enough, especially on a weekend. So yeah, I'll see you all then, and until the next stream, see ya.